The following presentation analyzes impacts to the Clemson Restoration Institute campus on the former Charleston Naval Base. This information was presented to the Review and Oversight Commission on the South Carolina Ports Authority on March 11, 2011. I am Jeff Baxter, a North Charleston resident who has followed the current rail debate extensively over the past 2 years. My employment at the Noisette Company over the past 7 years has given me specific insight into some of the issues being discussed. As a project manager and later as a director of development for the Navy Yard at Noisette, and a homeowner in the Oak Terrace Preserve neighborhood, I spend most of my time within the southern portion of the North Charleston city limits. Although my employment at the Noisette Company has opened a window for me into this conversation, I speak today as a citizen of North Charleston and the state of South Carolina. The following arguments are my own. The following presentation explores 2 points: the disruption and negative impact to the Clemson University Restoration Institute campus, and the escalating costs of the state's rail proposal. For those who are not aware, the city of North Charleston gave Clemson 86 acres in 2007 to create a Clemson University Restoration Institute campus. In 2009, the institute was awarded a $98 million drivetrain testing facility. The drivetrain testing facility itself is not a huge generator of jobs, but it is an anchor tenant in what could be a bustling, wind-related research and development mall. Today, the state has taken steps to move the Clemson campus further away from the drivetrain testing facility in order to turn land designated for the Clemson Research Campus into a rail yard. While the new drivetrain testing facility in Building 69 will not be directly impacted by the proposed rail yard, the accompanying campus has been condemned using eminent domain by the South Carolina Public Railways. The Commerce Department indicated that we shouldn't be worried about the fate of the remaining Clemson Restoration Institute. Commerce's own press release advertised they would, quote, create additional acreage for the Clemson Wind Turbine Testing Facility and Clemson Restoration Institute, unquote. While the state admits their plan for Clemson is undeveloped, we have been led to believe that Clemson will be better off through the state's efforts. Let's move into the analysis. We begin with the area that makes up the Navy Yard at Noisette project. Supposedly, Clemson will be a co-owner with South Carolina Public Rail of a 230-acre tract of former Noisette property shown here in orange. Having an in-depth knowledge of this 230 acres, my hypothesis is that 1 acre does not equal 1 acre with this trade. The following slides validate this hypothesis. Each slide has a new complication or encumbrance, which takes away from acreage. Some of these issues can be resolved with expensive engineering solutions, so you're either using up acreage or spending lots of money, both of which are in short supply. The path of the proposed rail line swings out to the west of the property and is shown in yellow. To prevent blocking traffic to the 8,000 plus current daytime employees at the Navy Yard, there is a proposal for a costly Cosgrove Avenue overpass. There are existing stormwater facilities in place today that handle off-site stormwater and take up acreage. This next slide shows how large these existing retention ponds are. In addition, the site contains jurisdictional wetlands which are regulated by the Army Corps of Engineers. Stormwater management is one of the more challenging issues of the site. This is a good time to demonstrate how the cost of the state plan could grow and eventually burden state taxpayers. As we've just discussed, the state plan proposes an expensive overpass. Unfortunately, the proposed overpass crosses over and into a large 20-acre low-lying area that floods 2 to 3 times a year. Here are some pictures of that flooding. Before the overpass can be constructed, a comprehensive stormwater management plan and solution must be developed and implemented, which will continue to drive up the cost of this project. You can't build an R&D building in the middle of an area that regularly floods, and the cost of the stormwater management must be factored in for the construction of the rail facilities. Some non-historic buildings, as shown here in black, will probably require demolition and remediation, and more expensive will be the removal of existing building foundation and piles that remain in the ground today. As you can see, the proposed line comes within feet of a building recently purchased by Low Country Orphan Relief. This slide adds in the protected historic buildings, shown in red. And here are the boundary lines of the 3 historic districts which are currently listed on the National Register of Historic Places and regulated by the National Park Service. The following photos show how the rail line will move through and split the historic hospital district in half. Several historic buildings will need to be demolished, while others will be negatively impacted by their close proximity to the rail line. The Officers Housing District is a beautiful area, but inappropriate for a research and development facility such as what Clemson proposes. The existing historic houses could be an expensive endeavor for Clemson. This composite map identifies remaining parcels that could be suitable for the Clemson Restoration Institute. When we filter out the development blocks, we're left with a piecemeal assortment of parcels that would be appropriate for a high-tech R&D and assembly facilities. This slide compares the previous Clemson campus to the new campus. Not only is the new campus further from the drivetrain testing facility, it's also smaller and more fragmented. Therefore, the new fragmented, smaller campus replaces what was a larger, contiguous, rectangular piece of property with fewer complications that was adjacent to the drivetrain testing facility. Why would we jeopardize this economic development jewel when there are suitable alternatives in the region? In conclusion, the state plan might net a negative result for state economic development. The plan stifles the prospect of job creation associated with the development of the Clemson University Restoration Institute. It further jeopardizes the current jobs that exist today. If pursued, there will be major delays and a high price tag for state taxpayers. The unknowns and the unintended consequences will be costly not only from a financial standpoint, but from a community and a trust standpoint as well.